Hey everyone, I'm Airwingmarine. Welcome back to the channel and my next Escape from Tarkov video. Today, with them announcing Killa on Factory for, I'm assuming, a short period of time, but the mayhem has already ensued, if you don't know that. I wanted to do a little video on why I think wipe's coming, why wipe is upon us. Now, it might not be today, it might be next week, but I'm pretty sure wipe's going to come at us with 12.11. Now, let's get a few things squared away first on what wipe is. So, wipe is and what it's for. So wipe is where they reset the game, right? Basically all of your stuff goes away, everything in the world gets reset back to square one. You know, if you play Rust or Path of Exile, which does seasons, games like that, you know what that means. And they do this to be able to test new content, right? And new systems, like if they make changes to the game and they want to test how it plays out when the game progresses. That's what they use wipes for. Again, this is all my opinion, my take on stuff. There's no, like, I didn't interview somebody at BSG and get this information. I just make sure we get that clear real quick. But this is all personal opinion stuff. What is wipe not for? Wipe isn't for, you know, making the game interesting again for streamers and content creators. It's not to reset the economy. It's not because they are looking to sell stuff. That is not what wipe is for. So with those explanations set aside, I want to talk about what are the reasons for wipe right now? Like the actual hard, like what are good solid reasons for them to wipe? The first one with 12.11, and the first one's going to be Scav karma, right? So this is going to be where how you act as a Scav and the things you do have lasting consequences. So if you kill Scavs as a Scav, you become essentially marked and cursed and get killed. If you help Scavs, Nikita had mentioned that in one of the podcasts that the Scav bosses might help you. Plus you get better rewards. You get stuff on fence that is, you know, like a level 2 fence where you can buy stuff. A couple different ideas they had there that we still have yet to see, and we'll have to see the patch notes on. But that won't be tested properly if they do Scav karma now and don't wipe. The game's too late stage in this wipe, if you will. Biggest problem with that is people don't care about their Scavs. There'll be some people that are doing it just to try to figure it out, but you're going to have other people that are going to be doing it to try to go the other direction and fuck people up, because that's kind of how Tarkov works. So in order to get a good test on Scav karma, I think they need to have a wipe just to reset everybody back to square one, and flush that whole system out through a full progression. Because I guarantee they're going to make tweaks and changes as they go. There's going to be shit that's broken or OP or, you know, useless that they need to buff, and the only way to figure that out is going through a wipe cycle, I believe. Second, and these are kind of in order of what I think is importance or effect causing a wipe, right? So second is going to be the new map and the Scav boss, Tagilda, whatever, the sledgehammer looking psychopath dude that they shared a video of him crushing somebody's skull with, and he just looks like a super badass CrossFitter that would hurt you really badly, and it looks like he might actually be Killa's brother or relation or somehow, maybe, I don't know, because the picture that they released showing Killa in Factory says translated loosely as happy birthday kiddo or something like that. With him being added to the game and them changing Factory around, if they let it roll right now, the new Scav boss is just gonna get steamrolled because everybody's got top armor, top weapons, top ammo, you know, M61, SNB, you know, M995, you name it, and he just won't be a challenge. He's gonna get farmed, he'll be basically broken, and there won't be this cool, you know, rollout of this new Scav boss who's supposed to be terrifying and just steamroll people. And so that again leads to me to believe that there's going to be a wipe, just because of that. It's the only way you can get that experience and that process with a new Scav boss is by making sure nobody's got, with the exception of a few people who go to labs right away and do that kind of crap. But he won't be able to be tested without a wipe. Smaller reasons. So these are kind of older reasons, but they still apply. They made a bunch of huge changes to the hideout progression. Back in April, they changed what it takes to level your hideout up almost wholesale across the board. They made a bunch of changes to a bunch of requirements and things like that. And that is only, that was past the point of being tested. You could literally, when they did that stuff, you could literally buy most of those components for less than 10,000 rubles off the flea market. So it didn't really mean anything. You know, it was like just a little extra hurdle to get by it, with the exception of things like the Bitcoin farm and the solar power. They made those way more expensive, but that's another deal. So in order to test out how people progress through the new hideout restrictions, they need to do a wipe. the Bitcoin reset, which is kind of what we were talking about, where they unlinked Bitcoin from the real Bitcoin, sort of. It's not one-to-one like it used to be. Basically, they put some kind of modifier and cut it. It still tracks with real Bitcoin, but it's way less. You know, I don't know if they brought, it says 0.2 Bitcoin on the game still, but it's like, I think it's like technically 0.1 or something now. It's way less, nonetheless. And that really had a huge effect on this wipe with how much money people had, how fast people were able to progress. It made the game really easy. And that has been undone. So it was too late to really affect this wipe, but we'll see what it does in the next wipe and how the economy responds to that. Now, I said this isn't a reason for wipe, but this is kind of a supplementary thing that goes with it when you look at all these things together, is marketing and sales and growth of the game as a whole. Wipes are great for the game. It gets them to sell more copies. It brings player base back in. It gives content for content creators, which are basically just free advertisement for BSG. You know, all of us doing YouTube videos and stuff like this here makes you interested in Tarkov and want to go play it or maybe buy it, and you can show your friends. And so marketing does play a role. And that rolls into a supporting reason. They wouldn't, I don't think they'd ever wipe for marketing purposes. And then the last one, and this is a maybe because I don't know if it's going to be in 12.11, but it's storyline tasks. So if in 12.11 the new task system is coming, or storyline tasks, or the weekly or daily tasks, or any of that stuff is coming with 12.11, obviously it's not going to get tested with everybody being towards the end of the end of the game right now, finishing a lot of they might not have kappa, but they've got a big chunk of tasks done. If that comes in, that would be another in 12.11. We'll have to wait and see what the patch notes say, but that would be another good reason to do a wipe. Now, real quick, what I want to talk about is reasons not to do a wipe. New guns. You don't need a wipe for new guns. They've added guns in the past without wipes. The 1911 and the PPSH got added with no wipe. Things like that. So the guns don't necessarily mean a wipe. They'll be a nice addition. I'm super excited for the Scar. I hope it's in 12.11. I know they've pretty much said it is, but you never know. But that's not a reason for a wipe. New gear, same kind of deal, right? They add gear continuously through the progress of the game. So that's not really a thing that says, oh my God, we got to wipe now because we added a bunch of gear, right? So I wouldn't say that that's a reason to wipe. Broken economy, as much as I would like them to wipe because of that, that is not a reason to wipe, because the economy isn't broken for everybody. There's a lot of players that don't have a ton of money. So it doesn't matter that everything's on the flea market and everything's really expensive and everybody else has a lot of money. They can't play the game. So there's always a balance to that for everybody who's got a bunch of money, for everybody who doesn't have a bunch of money. So a broken economy doesn't necessarily mean a wipe. I think it's something, and broken economy might even be the wrong word. They may have intentionally blew the economy apart in the last wipe, for all we know, to test stuff we don't know about. I mean, M61 could end up being a super rare ammo, right? Once this game goes to full release. M61 could be something like M993, where you can only get like 3 or 4 or 5 rounds of it at a time. Maybe a little bit less rare because of the progression of that. But if that's the case, you wouldn't get if they did that right now, you wouldn't get a good test on M61 and how it reacts with armors in the player base. By having everybody running full meta gear, you're testing that meta gear. You're testing how it responds, and you can do tweaks that fit that data set to balance those things, not outside of just making them rare. If that's all hearsay, I don't know, but that's one thing to think about when you talk about a broken economy. And that might not have been broken. It might have been intentional. And absolutely one of the last reasons, there doesn't mean a wipe. I already talked about it, was bored content creators or streamers. People bitching about the game wanting to wipe because they're a streamer and the game's boring and, people aren't watching. And there was a post, the viewership of Tarkov is down 85 or 90% or something since the start of the wipe. And that happens, that always happens. But that alone is not a reason to wipe. The game isn't meant for content creators and streamers. They're a very small portion of the community that plays this game. There are, BSG has seen numbers of like, I don't know, let's say like half their player base right now are people that have only had the game for a month. Why would they wipe? Why would they wipe those people if they don't need to? If all the reasons I stated above, they don't want to wipe for those reasons, there's a reason right there not to wipe. The next category of stuff is reasons not to wipe, right? What are the reasons not to wipe? And there's not very many here, and you gotta really stretch the imagination to get to these, but it's that strong new player base. If they see in their analytics there's a bunch of new people in the game, and I don't mean people that reset, but like people that bought accounts and they're playing and it's the first time they're playing Tarkov, it hurts those players to wipe the game because they just got started and they're starting to get their feet under them, they're starting to get progression. And the fact that a lot of people have quit the game and the server populations are low makes it easy for them to play a little bit easier to play the game, more like what it was a couple of years ago before it got really popular. And then there's unknown factors. There's a lot of shit we don't know. You know, they could be testing stuff in the late wipe. Like, that's what they want to do right now, is they want to test things in late wipe. So they just let it keep going and going so they can test that. There could be hardware, software reasons. I don't want to say issues, but things with that. You know, like maybe they want to wait till Unity 2019 or whatever, 2019, before a wipe. I don't know. I don't think so, but there's all sorts of stuff like that that could push the wipe beyond 12.11. I just don't think there's really many there. So in summary, real quick, there's way more reasons for a wipe, supporting a wipe, that I see than not a wipe. On top of that are some kind of like peripheral stuff, like, you know, they do a wipe every 6 months, right? I don't think that has any dictation on the wipe, to be honest with you, but it is a past data point that you can look at. And we've been 6 months since the wipe. Actually almost 7 now. So this could end up being one of the longer wipes out there. The game is pretty quiet now. I was playing my Alpha to Kappa playthrough, playing late night raids, trying to do Insomnia, and it was hard to find players. You know, I did factory raids in the United States at all times of the day on all servers and would run into one person or nobody on factory. And they could have just been really good at hiding. I couldn't find them, but that's just it. I think the server populations are really down. You're running into fewer and fewer people. When the player base is really small like that, there's a lot of the mechanics that just don't work. You know, tasks like Tarkov Shooter 8 become darn near impossible, and finding players on Woods to do Shooterborn in Heaven, it all becomes really, really, really difficult. And I think not how the game is intended to be played. You know, things with the economy, basically you can buy more than half the stuff in the economy for less than 10,000 rubles because everything's just not needed anymore. That's my little bit. That's my 2 cents. I kind of feel like that's why a wipe is upon us. Is it today? I kind of hope so. I'd like to play all weekend, but it might not be. It might be, you know, kind of thinking they do this kill a thing on factory for a day or two, and then maybe they do like a free labs weekend, and then next week they do the pre-wipe event where you've got raiders and everything's basically 1 ruble on the traders, and there's no level locks, and everybody can just run around like crazy for a week, and they, you know, wipe Thursday. It's always wipe Thursdays, so that could be wrong too. But that's just kind of my bit. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I hope it was useful, and we'll see you on the next one. Well, that wraps up the video. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button because it helps out the channel a bunch. And subscribe for future content. We also have a Discord, links down in the description, that you can come join. We're filling up with a bunch of chill people who just love to play Tarkov. If you're looking to support the channel in other ways, we've launched a Patreon with some benefits like access to a Discord channel, constantly updated spreadsheet for my hideout calculations, and some other things if you want to go check it out over there. Lastly, thanks for your support on YouTube. It means the world to me, and I greatly appreciate every one of you. So with that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you in Tarkov.